Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko's Garage. Today we are again working on my 1974 R90, another little actually BMW modification. So 1974 5-speed gearbox. And then in the later years, the 5-speed gearbox got a adjustable shifter, and we're gonna add this to my 1974 today. So let me turn the camera around, let's just talk about a couple of things, and then we're gonna start working. So there she is. As you guys can see, you know, all the modifications of the last few videos. Overall, no permanent damage done to the bike yet. I haven't chopped up my subframe. I haven't done anything permanent to the frame. Just a horn, crash bar, a relay for the horn, a brake light, and a couple LED lights. And that's pretty much it. And so I think that's fine. What we're gonna do today, I already mentioned, the 1974 R90 here has this non-adjustable shifter. So right where the shift shaft comes out of your transmission is where the shifter is attached. You can raise and lower the foot peg, but that's it. You can't change the angle of the shifter. I would like to put the foot peg down a little bit because, you know, I'm 6 foot tall. When I'm sitting on it, my knee is pretty sharply bent, and having the foot peg a little lower would be a little bit more comfortable for me. But then I have the problem that I cannot change the position of the shifter at all. And in the later years, I think 76 or 77, when pretty much the /6 turned into the /7, they added a mechanism here. They brought the foot peg down a little further, or back a little further, and they added a shift lever that's actually mounted to your foot peg rather than to your transmission, and a linkage and all that stuff. So, and let me show you the parts. So here's the parts lineup. I had this in my parts bin, came with the bike. I got a bunch of extra parts. So this is the new foot peg, and this foot peg arm here is a little longer than on my original /6, so the foot peg goes back a little further. And then the shift lever is shaped differently and longer. The length of this is actually going to give you more leverage. So it potentially, I haven't tried it out yet, obviously, it could be that it's going to make the shifting a little easier. So less force needed to get it in the next gear. And then originally they would have a solid link between this shift, hello, no, not moving. Oh yeah, between the shift lever here and the little arm that goes, this is the replacement for the R6 shift lever. This goes in the transmission. And then, yeah, they would have just a solid link with this rubber boot in between the two. And what we're gonna be installing is this here. This is an adjustable link, so you can actually change the position of the shifter itself. Surprising thing is that this here is 5 millimeters, so there is like a 5.2, 5.3 millimeter hole in here. But this new thing, the bolts here are 6 millimeter. So I will have to open this up and open this up to 6 millimeters. No big deal, I don't think. And then this is actually serviceable. Those little ball joints here, they can be greased, taken apart and all that stuff. And yeah, these are really pretty much the parts that we're gonna use. And now I'm gonna put you guys on a stand and we're gonna get started. So we're gonna do something completely unnecessary, but there are some people on older forums talking about this, how you can do this shifter conversion without even, oh, what am I doing? I don't need to open my case. I just need to take it off. So they say that you can just lay your bike on its side, and then you don't need to drain the gear oil out. I think doing a modification or a repair like this is usually a pretty good time to change your gear oil. So if you're taking this open anyways, might as well drain it out. But just for proof of concept, I'm gonna lay my bike down on its side. Now with a crash bar, so the crash bars are gonna be the ones on the ground. I have a relatively empty tank. The only downside could be that some of the engine oil will go into the cylinder. So we're gonna have a little bit of a smoke show when I first start it up, but I think That's going to be just fine. So I took my case off over there, and now I'm going to try to lay this bike down. I better be on the side where I want to lean it to, right? And I have packaging foam here. This is really dense stuff, and we're going to try to lay it down slowly. Oh, what are we touching here? Okay, let's make sure we don't tip it over. That would be a bummer. All right, so this is pretty inconvenient now because I have all the parts here on this side. Dumb. And I'm kind of... All right, yep, drop it on the ground. The parts I already cleaned yesterday. So this is supposedly how you can do it. Easy to see now. Good thing I have all the tools lying now under my front wheel. Don't give me a hard time about this, okay? First of all, I did not go to a factory school BMW in 1974. And I'm only doing it this way because the internet says you can, and I want to just check. So now we're just holding onto our shift lever here. We're taking this bolt loose. There shouldn't be any gear oil coming out. You want to make sure that you don't drop anything into your transmission, obviously. That would be kind of a bummer. So now we're going to just pull this out slowly. There is a seal in here that can be replaced. We are not going to do this. I will do it if I see that there is some sort of leakage going on. So just for comparison's sake here real quick, this is the new shift lever, and this is the piece that we took out. Looks identical. And you could theoretically use your hardware here. I have another one that I cleaned yesterday. I want to see, there is no washer in here. So I don't think we're going to put any washer in this new one. I cleaned this yesterday already with brake clean and washed out the inside. So we're not introducing any kind of garbage, dirt, nasties. But what I'm planning on doing, we should clean out the seal a little bit. Stick my finger in a clean paper towel in there. And just make sure we're not introducing any kind of contaminants. What I'm planning on doing is I'm just going to ride it down the road a couple miles to, stir up any kind of contaminants that I might have in my transmission after this conversion, and then I'm going to change the gear oil with, I'm using AMSOIL Severe Gear. I know it's synthetic, and some people lose their mind over using any kind of modern synthetic lubricant in a bike that was not made for it. Yeah, and it works. It works really well, and I don't have any massive leaks at all. I'm using synthetic engine oil, gear oil in the drive shaft and in the final drive, and so far in 25,000 miles, engine is dirty but not oily. I have no leakage going on. So one last check here, making sure we're not putting any grime, dirt. I'm just checking that the sealing surface is clean. And now gently inserting this into this. So this is how it's supposed to be. There are only two positions that you would be able to insert it this way, or 180 degrees, but 180 degrees later you are interfering, or the frame is interfering with things. All right, and now the nice bolt here. There's probably some sort of torque value. We're just going to do Guten Tide for now until I can look it up. Yeah, it's stainless steel into one of the shafts in the transmission. It's kind of funny when people actually do this, lay their bike over. So this all needs to come off. Nut, flat wave washer actually. And then the exhaust clamp here. All right, let's see here. What's the trick here? If I would have gone to that mechanic school in 1974, I was minus 1 year old in 1974. I missed out on that. Okay, so we're just massaging this off, turning this out of the way. Here's the spring that holds the kickstand in place. I might as well clean it while we're at it. And now we can take the foot peg off. That's the original. Now I'm gonna just grab some cleaner real quick to clean off the frame here a little bit. That's always behind the foot peg and the muffler and the header pipe. So now we have this contraption here. This is greasable. I'm gonna do this afterwards. It is nice and tight still. So this pivot here can kind of wear out and get wobbly. If you grease it up regularly, I think that's fine. The kind of the pattern here. The pattern here is absolutely the same. So this goes right on there. So now I have this massive hose clamp here in the way. The bolt should be at the bottom, but then it was always hitting the kickstand, or the kickstand was hitting it. Maybe we can turn this in some other direction. Let's see if I have a size 10. I do. So let's take this off one more time. Oop. I might actually have to take this off to be able to turn it around, because now the bolt is going to be the wrong direction. So I guess we'll forget about this right now. So this has nothing to do with our modification. I will take the muffler off and then flip this around, and then maybe it should go like this. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, and now quick little comparison here. What I was saying earlier, so the foot peg goes back just a smidge, not much, but maybe it's big enough of a difference. The pattern here doesn't seem to jive just perfectly, but I think once we pinch it together, it should be fine. So we're doing the spring here again. Let's clean that off a little bit. I think that's stainless steel. On most Airheads I've seen, this thing is always missing. I bought it new from BMW. So this goes kind of like that. And then we have the exhaust clamp. Maybe I should have cleaned that too. Chrome plated thing. But hey, nobody's ever gonna see it except me. All right, and now we have to get the clamp back on the bolt. Okay, kind of like that. Spring straighten out. Then the washer here. I could probably use a new one. Let's see if I have one. So I think we're just going to be reusing the same one here. We haven't had any issues with it. Just put the nut back on. Which side? Yeah, that side. And then we're just tightening this up. There's a, I want to say 77 foot-pounds. So you got to make sure that now here I see, the shift lever is not rubbing on your exhaust or on your frame. So you got to find, I guess that would be the position now. Feels good. I will torque this down. I have my manual sitting here, 70 to 77 Newton meters. I do have this sitting here, 75 Newton meters, and just grab my torque wrench here, 75 Newton meters. It's possible that it's turning, that you have to actually put a wrench on the other side. We're going to do that when the bike is back on its wheels. I don't want to cause the thing to tip over. Uh-oh, yeah, it kind of is on its tipping point here. But it's okay. So we're going to do this later and recheck this one here as well. So now we're going to grab our brand new adjustable shifter linkage thing here. There is stainless steel hardware, stainless steel washer, and the thing that I completely forgot is to open up those holes. Heiko, what are you thinking?
5 minutes later.
All right, guys, so we have the two main pieces on there. I just noticed that we're now dripping engine oil over there. So our ghetto install here is now over, and I'm gonna put the bike into its normal upright position and stop the messiness and all that. And yeah, let's see if I can get it on its feet. So this is in, tightened up. I will look for torque. I'll torque this later, and now we're gonna work on the linkage. I enlarged those holes to 6 millimeter, which is no big deal, and deburred it nicely, made sure there are no shavings on it. The oil that came out wasn't engine oil, it was actually gear oil. It came out of the transmission vent, which is also the point where your ground cable is connected. So now we lost some gear oil. That means we should have done gear oil drain and install right out of the gate. Would have saved us a little bit of some hassle. So if you do this, don't do the ghetto install version, just do it the proper way. Drain the gear oil, then change everything around, and then just refill with fresh. So we're gonna do that anyways before I ride the next time. So I could have saved myself the hassle. So now we have to see if this here actually works, which looks pretty promising. So hole is large enough. This is how it's supposed to be on there. And then with, I don't know if they have a left and a right hand thread here. No, it's two right hand threads. So if you want to do adjustments to the length here, you always have to take it off pretty much. But we're just going to kind of like, oh, you can also shorten, I guess, the threaded portion. I can't thread it on all the way, it stops. So we're just going to leave it in this normal length here. Kind of like that. Like so. We have to put a wave washer and a nut on the back side. And there are some flat spots where you can put a very thin little wrench on it to tighten up those ball ends here. There's my alarm telling me, Heiko, you have an appointment. So I'm gonna snooze that one more time. Supposedly, this rubber boot here that they sell individually fits over this. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I will leave it open. Keeps the thing visible, and when it gets grungy and dirty and nasty, then I can service it. Here's a little like a little wire safety in here that you can lift up and then pull this out and then grease it up, and that shouldn't be too difficult. So let's see if we have a really thin, I want to say 10 millimeter wrench. So I have a couple really chintzy old no name brand wrenches, and when I need to, I just grind them flat, thinner. So that should work. And a 10 millimeter. There you go. Like I said, you have to pick one of the tooth positions here where your shift lever doesn't rub on your frame. And I think that we accomplished that. So now theoretically, you can, by lengthening or shortening this, raise or lower the shift lever position. Right now we don't have a rubber on here, so let's do that to kind of get an idea. Let's see if we can get this rubber off the shifter. Okay, so stretchy on both sides without stabbing myself. And then once we have it loose, we should be able to spin this, and while we're spinning it, slide it off. All right, so we have that. There's one side that's a little worn. That's probably the top. We're going to try to put that at the bottom. Yeah, this is only like 2 or 3 years old. And then the foot peg. What did we do with that? Oh, yeah. This is also, I think, only a year old. Let's see if we can... Oh, yeah, it's coming off. So the mounting of the rubber is pretty much identical. So now we can stick that on. I put these round ones on. They are actually from a /5. The /6 are kind of boxy, but I tended to always turn them so they would never stay in position. This one here hasn't moved. So now I can swing my leg over and give it a first feel for, you know, with my safety Crocs here, what it feels like. So we're a little further away from the carb. That's good. The shifter is a little further away from the peg as well. This is already pretty perfect. So it's much easier for me to get my foot in here and to lift it up. Before, this was always a little on the tight side. Haven't done any major adjustments here. So I can, I guess, tighten this one up too, if I can. So like I said, there is a wave washer on there that keeps it from loosening up. If that ever happens, just put some Loctite on it. Blue Loctite, my preferred. That just gives a little bit resistance to loosening up. Tight, okay? And then you cannot really change the position here. You cannot make it longer. This would only work if there would be a left-hand thread and a normal thread. Here in this case, you always have to take it loose. But now I'm just going to grab a second 10 millimeter wrench, and by hand both are up against their stop, like that, and like that. And then I'm just gonna twist them against each other, kind of like that. And yeah, that's good. Very good, guys. That is a improvement. Like it. All right, guys, that tells me I need to wrap this up. We're gonna do the refill with gear oil and a little test drive here on camera before I post this video. So this is a really nice modification that you can do to the 5-speed transmissions on A/6, and you get the adjustability of A/7. So like I said, lengthening, this comes down, shortening, and you can probably grind off this threaded portion a little bit to get a little tighter, and your shift lever will come up. Very good. I'm very excited. Kind of made a mess out of it, but I wanted to see if what the internet says can actually work. And besides a little bit of some gear oil spill and some fuel coming out of the carburetor, we didn't really have any ill effect. Now I'm gonna let it sit here. We still have to refill the gear oil or change it altogether. Anyways, that's it for now.
Many hours later.
I did a little bit of some test shifting. I really like where this ended up being in its natural habitat, so I can get on top and I can easily get on the bottom. This distance here has gotten a little larger. The whole thing is a little further back, and this arm is a little longer than the original shifting lever, and so we have a little bit more shifting oomph, if you want to say it that way. As I told you, we were leaking a little bit of some gear oil out of the transmission vent, which is on the other side. So that's good in a way, because now I know that my vent is not clogged or anything. So now we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to take the drain plug out. We're going to drain out the, the gear oil, all the stuff that's still left in there. I bought some 75 W90 severe gear gear oil. That works really well. Let's see if I can find the drain plug. Oh, it's down there. And of course, I don't have the correct socket here. When I order parts from any of the BMW parts places, they usually have kits of all those aluminum or copper washers slash seals, gaskets, copper crush washers that go into the transmission. Something just fell out. Why was there something falling out? Ay. All right, I think I just found something that came out of my transmission. This literally just came out of my transmission drain plug. That's not good. I was just riding the bike this morning. I wonder what that is. I don't think I'm gonna be riding my bike here anytime soon until I have my transmission open and replaced whatever this is from. Wow, that is crazy. It literally, I took the drain plug out, and I'm assuming, yeah, it's slightly magnetic. So it was, oh, there are other chunks here too. So, you know, sometimes it helps if you change your gear oil and then find the bits and pieces. So I think this is going to be the end of this video. So you guys saw that this just bolts right in there. This is absolutely not really a modification. It's just a mod from an older model to a newer model. But now we just found out that there's something going on in my transmission. And that ends the riding season for me. So yesterday was a pretty frustrating day as we were just working on this little later model shifter modification, which, you know, isn't really hard to do at all. But then you guys noticed as we were draining out the oil that I suddenly found a big chunkiest piece of gear on my magnetic drain plug, and I have it over here. So here, a little closer for you guys. That little piece here is actually from the second gear. It's a sliding gear on the intermediate shaft. It has, those are called dogs, shift dogs. So these dogs here, they will interface another gear and turn a rotating gear into a fixed gear. There are some people online, they say, oh yeah, once you break one off, you know, there's gonna be another one breaking off, and they just keep riding it like this. I decided not to do that because I remember now 2 days ago, I was riding to work. I was actually commuting on this bike, and at a stoplight, suddenly my rear wheel locked up. I was only like 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour speed, so it wasn't really fast at all. My rear wheel locked up and the engine stalled as a result of it. And I thought, I was blaming myself. I thought I had maybe shifted down a gear too fast, or maybe I, you know, mismatched my speed versus what gear I was in. So now my options are, not really many options, by the way. This is a 1974 bike, but it's kind of a mismatch. So the engine case isn't original to the bike. So your engine case number and your frame number should be the same. Here in this case, that is not the case. So someone swapped the engine at some point. I have not looked at the transmission number yet. So here on those early 5-speed transmissions, if you take the air filter housing off, under the air filter housing here, somewhere in the front section, there is a number stamped into the transmission housing, and that can tell you what year that is from. Some people ride it with a broken off dog, but it can happen again. There are 4 of those, and the load will just be taken up by the 3 remaining now. And it can lock up a gear when you're going 80 miles an hour down the freeway, so I don't recommend doing that. So the early 5-speed transmissions, they had this problem that the dogs would break off, and then they eventually made modifications to the second gear on the intermediate shaft, which also resulted in a different shift fork. And those parts are unobtainium. They're no longer produced. BMW doesn't sell them. Even Siebenrock doesn't sell them. So the second gear intermediate shaft is not available as an individual item, nor can I buy a complete new intermediate shaft for this old model of 5-speed. The intermediate shaft was available for the later models of this 5-speed transmission with different gears. So it wouldn't have fit into this transmission anyways. So now I can look if I can find either a used transmission that doesn't have the same problem, but I would still have to be able to open it up and look at it and verify that all the pieces are still there, or buy a new used intermediate shaft that I can install into this transmission. But again, if I get a intermediate shaft from an early 1974 or 1975 transmission, this can happen again, that one of those dogs breaks off. So apparently this is a pretty common problem. I found many forum posts and even some Facebook posts about it where, oh yeah, another broken one. Problem is that those parts are not available, and even if I would find a rebuilder, they would have to use either used parts or replace a whole bunch of things internally to make this equivalent to a little bit later model. There are kind of 3 generations of 5-speeds or even more. The very early ones, then they did a couple fixes, and then later on they went to a completely different clutch carrier and clutch interface. So that's all not interchangeable necessarily. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. This is apparently a problem with those older transmissions. A used intermediate shaft off of eBay is 150 bucks. The used transmission is 250 bucks plus shipping. If I want to send this out to get it rebuilt by someone who knows what they are doing, probably went to factory school in 1974, that would probably end up being, like a flat rate price nobody's going to give you, because they don't know which parts are broken and which parts they have to source. But yeah, $1,000 and up. Each individual gear from Siebenrock, they make a bunch of gears that BMW doesn't produce anymore. They are like $200-300 a piece. So if a rebuilder would tell me, okay, yeah, your intermediate shaft is toast, we have to do this, and this to make this happen, or we have to use those used parts, we're probably looking at above $1,000 to just get that happen, and shipping and all that stuff. So I am kind of leaning towards spending money on tools and being able to open this up myself. There is some good write-ups out there. There is lots of good information. Brooke produced a couple videos about it. There is lots of write-ups with photos, instructional videos, and that kind of stuff. So, with a little bit of common sense and good inspecting, and I have already a few tools that I can use. I have the plate that you need to adjust the shimming in this transmission. Couple tools I definitely will have to buy, and then look what I have, look what I need, and then hopefully source something. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's really a bummer. I was just enjoying this little series of little aftermarket or after the fact modifications. The new horn, the crash bars, they're really nice. The shifter, I was really looking forward to using it and trying it out. My new brake light back there with the blinker function and all that. So yeah, I was going to show you guys how to retrofit a oil cooler, even with a thermostat in it. From a later model, I ordered a aftermarket thermostat from Motoren Israel from Germany. And then I have a oil cooler kit from, I don't know what bike it was off of, but I was going to show you how to modify the engine case to put a oil filter housing in there, the proper tubing and everything, and how to shim that and make that all happen, and then mount a oil cooler on this bike. But that's now on the back burner for sure. Even though I already have all the parts, we first have to figure out the transmission issue. Good thing is I have another R100 that I need to practice on. It also has a broken transmission. In that transmission, most likely only a little spring is broken. All the tools that I'm going to be buying for this transmission rebuild will be serving me really well on this other bike as well. So I think modification series is over, and now we're going to look into rebuilding a transmission. But I hope we can turn this broken one into a functioning transmission one day and ride this bike again. All right, so you guys look forward to those videos, and this was for now the last small modification video on my R90 until we get this all figured out. All right, you guys, take care. If you don't mind, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you here next time. Take care. Bye.